Hello, everyone. Hey, it's Mr. John here, and we're going to be doing some more animation today. We're going to be using our FlipaClip app, and we're going to be animating this rocket right here. Going to look something like this. So, a couple things we're going to be learning today. We're going to be showing you some new things. We're going to be showing you how to use the grid. There's a grid on here that helps you draw things better. You know, Miss Anna uses a grid when she teaches you guys about realistic drawing and how to get the shape exactly right with the reference that you're using. It's one way to use it. We're going to use it for something like that, but it's going to be a tool that we use. Another thing we're going to be doing today is a little bit of shading. It'll be at the end, but we're going to try and get the shading on this rocket. It's just one way to shade. There's lots of ways to shade, lots of cool different animation, anime, different types of shading that you can do. This is just what I do. It's quick and easy, makes it look a little bit better. And then the most important thing I wanted to show you today, though, is how to create movement, show something moving without actually moving that thing. So it's by actually moving the background behind the thing. Okay, so you know, if you watch movies, if you're watching a camera, it's following your subject, the person, and a lot of times it just stays with the person the whole time, and you just see the background moving. But you know they're moving, you know they're walking, you know they're driving a car, you know they're flying in an airplane, but you can only see the cockpit, you know. So that's what we're going to be doing today. Okay, you don't always have to be moving the items, all of the different things all over the screen. You can actually just move the background. All right, so let's get into this. Let's look at, we're going to start a new project here in our FlipaClip app, and let's name it let's call it Rocky. Okay, so the first thing we want to do is we want to go turn on our grid. I have mine on. You can probably see the little, it's like a pink grid on there. But I go up to the three dots of the right-hand corner, and you can see that the onion skin is on and the grid is on. So I can turn off the grid, or I can turn on the grid. Turn off the onion skin or turn on the onion skin. Okay, so I want those both on at this point in time. All right, click back on your project. We're on our first frame. The first thing we're going to do some layering to start with. So this is layer one. We're going to go to our toolbar, or our tools up at the top, that little ruler. Click on that. And this line is what I want. It actually appears right in the middle of my screen. That's exactly what I want. Okay, so I'm going to change from the marker or from the pen, and I'm going to go to a pencil. Okay, because I just want a light reference line right down the center of this. So I'm going to start on the left, and I'm just going to draw I'm going to drag my finger right across that red line, and it gives me a pencil mark. That's all I needed. Okay, so now I'm going to take off my tool, and I'm going to go to my layers down in the lower right-hand corner, and I'm going to add a layer. Okay, it's going to be layer 2. Go back to my drawing. Now, the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to draw one side of that rocket. Okay, the outside kind of arc shape of that rocket. Now, you can make it any size you want. You can make it really fat. You can make it really skinny. I mean, you know, you just do whatever you want to do. Mine come out different every time. Okay, but I'm going to start at one end. I'm going to change back to my pen, and I'm going to start right on the line. So over to the left on the line, somewhere over. Oh, let me get out, get back in. Somewhere over here. Okay, and then I'm just going to make an arc over this way. Okay, so I'm going to start down here, and I'm going to go up about 1.5 blocks, maybe a little more. We'll see. But when I come down on the other side, I'm not going to touch the line. Okay. Now I'm going to do that again, try and make it a little smoother. So if you go real slow, your finger might make it kind of squiggly. So, you know, a faster motion might make it a little smoother like that. Not perfect, but I think that's going to do for me. So it's almost too wide. I'm good with that. The next thing I'm going to do is, now the other side is going to be exactly the same. It's just going to be swapped, right? So I'm going to use this line that I just created to create the other side. So I'm going to go to my lasso. I'm going to select it, copy it, and reverse it, right? So I'm going to select that line, copy it up at the top. I'm going to paste it. And you can't see it pasted, you just can't see it because I pasted it right on top. Then over to the right, you have your trash can, you have your horizontal flip, and you have your vertical flip. So I'm going to do the vertical flip. And there's my other line. Okay, so at this point, I'll just move that down so that it kind of matches up with that other one. And you get the two sides. They look exactly the same, symmetrical, right? It's a good thing. Okay, so the next thing we're going to do is we're going to use our, now you could freehand this whole thing if you wanted to, but I like to use the tools, okay? It just makes things, makes the lines a little smoother, a little straighter. So I'm going to go to my pen, and then my ruler lights up. Go to my ruler, and now I'm going to use the circle. Go to my circle, and right here we're gonna make the cockpit. Okay, so I'm going to leave that line. You see the little square? It's right on my pencil line. That's a good thing. Okay, I want to leave it there because that's going to make the center of any circle that I do right on that pencil mark, which is what we want. So, you know, it just happened to come up in a really good spot. If you wanted to move it, you could move that this little guy back and forth wherever you want. And then I'm going to make two circles.
Macy's asking, how did you do that? But I don't know what she means. Ask her, Macy.
Macy, what did you mean? How did I do what?
Maybe she got her question.
Might have been delayed a little bit.
It is.
So if you're talking about the circle, over on the right, I have the different, the line, the circle, and the square. Up at the top is the ruler. That brings up your toolbar. So I'm going to keep going, but as soon as I get your question, if you want to be more specific, I'll answer your question. So now I'm going to make two circles. This is going to be the cockpit.
It says, how did you draw the rocket?
How did I draw the rocket? Okay. Well, the outsides, I just went through that, but basically I just did it with my finger. I just made an arc, right? I drew on the first layer, I drew that pencil mark right down the center. I drew the first arc. Then I lassoed that first arc. I copied it and I reversed it. So that was on the, if you lasso something, here, let me get off of this. If you lasso something, oops. If you lasso it, over on the right, you have your trash can, you have your horizontal or your vertical flip, and your horizontal flip. So you can copy that up at the top and then paste it, and then you can move it into place. So I did the top arc first, I lassoed it, copied it, pasted it, and then I flipped it down to the bottom. And then I just moved it in place. Hope that answered your question.
Okay, so you've got the Mark's boy, you got Caleb and Joey just joined.
Hey Caleb, hey Joey, how you doing?
And the Griffin family and the Claimant family.
Griffin family and the Claimant?
Yeah.
Claimant family, hello there, welcome. Glad you guys could join us. If you're getting started a little bit late, all I've done so far is just made these two arcs. I opened up my grid up in the right-hand corner. I turned my grid on, this little red button over here, and it helped me draw this arc. Okay. And now the part that I'm on right now is making the window for it, okay? And I'll kind of go slow just so that you guys can maybe catch up, okay? So I'm gonna go to my tool. I'm gonna turn on my, my tool. I'm gonna go to the circle, and then I'm just gonna make two circles in here. And if you don't like the size of it, you can undo it. But I'm gonna make two really close together, like that. So the inside one is the window. The outside is just kind of like whatever, like the molding between the window and the actual rocket, right? Okay. And that's my circle tool. Now I'm gonna keep using the circle tool. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna move it straight down. I'm gonna keep it on that little reference line if I can. It's pretty close. And now I'm just gonna connect the back of it. So, and you don't have to be perfect. You can overlap because you can come back and erase later. But then I'm gonna move this back a little bit further. And this is gonna be kind of the little exhaust part of it. I'll make another little line there. Okay, looks like I made a little mistake here. Okay, so the next thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna keep using my circle. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna use it, but I'm gonna, now you can freehand these, the wings on here if you want to, but I am going to just use my, whoops, that's not what I wanted to do. I like to use this line on my circle tool to line it right up. So that makes my circle nice and symmetrical. So I'm gonna move this down here and I'm gonna kind of try and create just a line that's going to be the outside of the wing. Something like that. So then I'll go back to my pen, and I'll just draw this out here like this. Then I'm gonna make it a little bit, not quite as long, I'm gonna make it shorter. Bring it in here, and that'll be the other side of my wing. Okay. And I will get off my tool and I'm going to erase a little bit here. Erase. And I'm going to show you again, same technique that I used at the beginning. I'm going to select that wing. And I'm going to copy and paste it on the other side. Okay, so we're going to grab our lasso. And we're going to lasso the wing. Like that. Because I want the other one to be exactly the same size, right? So I'm going to copy it. Up at the top, there's the little copy pages. Copy it. And then I'm going to hit the little clipboard, which means paste. Didn't work. Okay, so we're gonna try that again. We're gonna lasso our wing, copy it, paste it. And then over on the side, there's the trash can, and then the horizontal flip and the vertical flip. So I'm gonna push the one on the bottom. That's the horizontal flip. I got my other wing. So I'm gonna drag that guy right into place. And I'll just match it up to where the other one is. It's right about. Sometimes this is hard to like set in place, but if you zoom in a little closer, it gives you a little bit more flexibility. It's a little bit more detailed. Okay, just like that. All right, we're looking good. Now, the other thing we're gonna do with our circle is you saw that the rocket I had kind of like a stripe around the front of it. So we're gonna put that stripe on there too. Go back to our pen and our ruler. Now, I don't know how to get that thing exactly the same shape as a circle anymore. What I've done in the past is just get out, get back in, and then you'll get your circle perfectly round again. But at this point, I don't think I need a perfectly round circle, so we're still gonna line this thing up on our pencil mark if we can. And then again, you don't have to do the mark right on the pink line. You can do it anywhere. It's going to put a circle in there anywhere. So I'm just going to put a couple marks in here and get kind of a cool little stripe right there. Okay. Okay, so now I'm done with my tools. Turn off my tools, and then I'm going to connect these lines and color it. We're going to be done with building this thing. So my pen, I'm going to come in here and just make a line from here to there. A line from here to there. Looks pretty good. And if you ever get kind of, your things tipped and you want it to straighten out, up in the right-hand corner, you see the 4 arrows pointing out. If you just hit the 4 arrows, it'll straighten up your picture, make it even again. Okay, we're gonna go to my eraser and we're gonna erase all these little guys that are hanging out here. And sometimes I use a big eraser because my finger's so fat that I can't see around if it's really small. If I use a big one, sometimes I can see outside my finger to erase. Oops. Okay. So hopefully you guys are all caught up with me. So now I'm going to color it. And I'm just going to use some fill colors like we did before. So the little bucket that's down on the left, we're going to touch that. We're going to touch it again. I don't know why it defaults to that pink, but I don't really like that pink. So we're going to use a different color. Now you can choose whatever color you want. You start out by touching the outer ring. So if you want a greenish color or blue color, red, whatever you want. I think I might do green this time. My last one was blue. I'm going to do a green one. And we're going to do kind of a darker green. Okay, so I'm just going to color it. I want that green, want that green. I'm going to make my wings a different color. Maybe I'll make them, what's a good color that goes with green? Yellow, maybe? Looks like Green Bay Packers or something, right? Okay, so then I'm going to color, I'm going to leave my stripe white that's in the front, and I'm going to color that little ring black, I think. Maybe that and the back of it are going to be black. But you pick whatever, you color it however you want. This black, make that black. Oops. Do. All right, there's my rocket. So now I need to decide which way my rocket's going to be facing. Okay, in the example that I did, it was over on the left, and it was kind of flying up and down, right? So I'm going to do that again, but you can make it go sideways if you want to. You can make it go sideways. It's a little bit big for what I'm doing, so I'm going to shrink it down a little bit. So I'm going to go back over to the left here, and I'm going to touch my lasso, and I'm going to circle the whole thing. All right, and that little handle that sticks up on the top, that's going to be the one that rotates it. Oh, shrink it down first. And any corner, we'll shrink it down. I'm going to rotate it. And then if you just touch inside the square, you can move it to wherever you want. And we might have to move it again, but right now, next thing we're going to do is we're going to work on the flame coming out of the bottom of it. Okay. So it's setting in a pretty good place. I'll tap to the side, and we're going to do the flame now. Okay, so let's create another slide. Okay, so the flame is only going to be 2 different slides. It's going to be, you're going to create the flame on one, you're going to create it on another, and they're going to be similar, but they're going to be kind of different. So it's going to look, as you're going along, like they're flashing, like it's coming out in a sporadic way. But it's actually only going to be 2 clips. So we're going to go down to the bottom, we're going to copy that one, copy it, and paste it to the right, the last one on the right. So now we have 2 frames. Let's go back to our first one. And we need to add a layer, okay? So let's go down here to our layers, and let's, we don't need that reference line anymore. So let's just delete that one. Okay, so what you do is you just drag your finger on that layer 1, drag it from the right to the left, and you have these options. And then we're just going to delete that. Okay, remove it. Yep, we don't need that anymore. Now we hit the plus below right there. This is layer 2, and then the plus that's below. We're going to add a layer. Okay, so this layer is going to be our flame. Let's go over here. And we're going to change from our pen to our paintbrush. Okay, just keep hitting the pen until your options come up. I'm going to grab my paintbrush, and then I'm going to choose a color. So that little swatch that's down on the bottom with the checkerboards in it, you touch that. And my flames, you can make whatever flame color you want. Mine's going to be red and yellow. So I'm going to start with the red, get a nice red. And you see that bar on the right, that transparency bar? That's important, okay? So we want that kind of, well, let's just play with it. It can be transparent at this point in time. And then our size of our brush, which is right below the brush, that's important too. So let's just start with like 15, see what that looks like. Yeah, it's not bad. So you don't have to worry about touching the bottom of it or covering it up. We're actually going to move it to the back, but we just want to make sure that we're or at least touching the bottom of the rocket. Okay. So I just kind of draw a little shape like that. Little triangle shape. Looks good. Now I'm going to go to my other one. Since I have this color and this paintbrush the way I want it, I'm going to go to slide number 2. And see, I can see that other one that's in there. So I'm just going to kind of go over the top. Maybe I'll make it a little shorter, or maybe I'll make it a little longer. I may want to go a little longer. So that way, when it's going back and forth, it'll kind of bounce like that. Okay. That's number 2. So let's go back to 1 again. Now I'm going to change the color. And I'm going to do yellow. Close that out. And then this is just going to be a smaller one right in the center. Kind of like that. And we'll go to slide number 2. Do the same thing. Okay. Now, I think we're set. So now let's go to our layers down here on the bottom. And here's what we're going to do. We're going to take layer 2. We're going to hold that, and we're going to drop it right on top of layer 3. And this little word pops up that says merge. And you're like, yeah, I want to merge that. Then it's going to ask you, would you like to merge layer 2 on top of layer 3? And this is going to go for both of the frames that you have going. Yeah, we want to merge that. Okay. So now they're just the same layer now, but now your rocket's on top of your flame. So if you go back and forth, you can see that this flame is going to kind of flicker a little bit, kind of looking cool there. All right, we're looking good. Okay, so let's see how we're doing on time. Not bad. Okay, oh, I forgot something. We have to actually color the window and the stripe. Otherwise, you're going to be able to see anything from the background coming through. So let's back up a little bit here. Go to our fill again, our fill tool. And let's change that to a white. Unless you already colored your window some other color. I forgot, see. So I'm going to color that. And I'm going to color that. Okay, back to our paintbrush. Okay, so now we're going to do a little bit of shading. Now, you don't have to do a lot here. You can just do a little. It's all good. I use white and black. And I'm going to put white on the side where there's light coming and black on the side where there's shadow. Okay, so I'm going to go to my swatch. And we are going to make this white. Close that. I'm going to come in here, and my light is going to be on the left. So I'm just going to take a little bit of white and just, okay, I'm going to do that. I'm actually going to do my transparency. I'm going to make it like almost like 1%, so that it barely shows up, and I have a little more control over it. See how light it puts it in there? You could put a little highlight right there. And maybe down here a little bit. And then on our edge of our wing, maybe. We got a little highlight over here. Okay. Then we're going to go to the opposite. We're going to change it to black. And we're going to put a little bit of black on the other side. Okay. There's probably some shadow over here. Oop. Oop. And if you get, again, you can always go back and erase. Something like that. Okay. And then I'm going to put a little bit on the window here. There you go. That's all I'm going to do. Okay, so I'm going to go back to my eraser, up at the tools, the eraser, and I'm just going to clean this up a little bit. Okay, good. Okay, so we're looking good here. Okay, so now I'm going to create a planet that's behind. Now you can draw a planet, the whole thing, but you saw in my example, I just kind of did one that was on the corner. So I'm going to do that again. So we're going to have to add a layer. Okay, add a layer. We don't want it on the same layer. We're going to add a layer. It defaults to that one. And then I'm just going to draw. Actually, why don't we use our circle tool? A nice round circle. Like that. I will draw with my pen the outline of a planet. Take off our tool. Looks good. And then we are going to color our planet. So we'll go to the color swatch again. And mine was kind of like the moon. It was kind of gray like the moon, but you can make it whatever color you want. I'm going to stick with that again. Pick a gray color. And I'm just going to, oops, I got to go to my fill tool first. The fill tool. Then pick a color. And we'll, oops, fill that in, yeah. So what happened to our planet? The layers are on the wrong way. We have to put the other layer in front. So I'm going to grab layer 3, hold it. I'm going to move it until they swap places. Now it's in front. Okay. Okay, so now I need to, it's on layer 4, which is our planet. I'm going to keep working on that planet a little bit. I'm going to add some highlights to it. Oh, you know what? We're kind of running out of time. You can do the same shading on that planet that I did. You can put the light on one side and the dark on the other, make it more interesting. But we're going to move on so that we can get done here. Okay, so that looks good. And then we're going to copy it and paste it to our other frame. So we're going to lasso our planet, copy it, move to frame 1, and paste it. Okay. What did I forget? I forgot to copy that window color in there. So I got to go select this color here on my window. Yeah, that's not good. It's kind of a cool color. Okay, so we're going to, oh, I see what I did. On the wrong layer. See, so I was on the wrong layer, so it made the whole thing white. So I had to go back to the layer where my rocket was and color those in. Okay, so hopefully you didn't make the same mistake I did. I have to fix it. Get rid of that. Come back here. I'm going to grab this again, copy it. Paste it. All right. Something weird's happening. Sometimes I get a little technical difficulties and I just kind of get out and then I get back in. So if something's ever not pasting or your tools aren't coming up, just get out, get back in, and go from there. So let's try that again. Something is weird. Okay, so we are going to do something different. Hopefully you have a chance to catch up. While I'm kind of screwing up here, you guys can actually catch up. So I'm gonna create a new frame here. So I'm gonna take my rocket and I'm gonna paste them on a new frame here. Let's see what I did. Okay. So give me a second. Catch up here. So I'm gonna have to recreate this real quick, which I can do. Okay, so I just had to make that flame look a little bit different there. And we're good. Okay, so we're gonna go back to our one and we're gonna grab our planet. Make sure I'm on the right layer. I grab that planet with our lasso, copy it, go to our next frame, paste it. Okay, now we're good. Okay. All right, so now we go to our frame viewer, which is the three little dots up there. Go to our frames viewer. And we're going to select them all. So that one that has the box with the little dotted line around it, hit that, and it'll select everything. Down at the bottom, we're going to copy this, and then we're going to paste. Okay, and so, I mean, you can do as many as you want. I'll start with 12, and then we're good there. So we'll back up. And so frame one is good. We'll go to frame two, and now we're just going to move that planet. Okay, so we're going to lasso. Let's make sure we're on the right frame. Yeah, we're on the moon. We're going to lasso that planet. Then We're just going to move it down a little bit. Go to your next frame and lasso your planet. Move it down a little bit. And just continue this cycle. So whatever direction you want him moving, I mean, he's pointing this direction, so we're moving the planet in the opposite direction. If you had him turn sideways and he was facing to the right, well, then you'd want to move your background to the left, right? So we just continue this cycle. Now I'm showing you how to do some of these things, and it's kind of fun, and it's, you know, it's interesting to animate things on the screen. But one of the things you should be thinking about when you're doing this is, what is the story? You know, what is the story here? Why is this rocket in space right now? What's happening? Are the people inside it escaping from a planet that's about to be destroyed, or are they hurrying to get someplace so that they can rescue somebody, right? What's the story? Let's tell a story. So this is just one little piece that you can do. Now, I didn't put them real close together, so it's going to look a little jumpy, but it's still moving. So you got the flicker from the flame, and you got the planet moving. Okay. The last thing you'd want to do is, in the background, you want to add a background. So we go back to our three little dots up at top, and we want to go to our project settings. So that's back to the beginning, and we choose our background. Now you could just choose a color, like, you know, go to your little paint bucket and just choose black or purple or whatever you want. That would give you a nice background. I happen to download a picture. I found a picture on the internet. So I'll go to my pictures, right there, the middle one, go to my photo library, and I got a picture of stars here. Okay, and I'll hit the checkbox. Yeah, that's the one I want. And that's going to be my background. Save the changes. So now I have my rocket flying past this moon, and there's stars in the background. Okay, pretty cool. So again, if you wanted to shade that planet, you know, add dark on one side, light on the other, that would make it look real cool, like I did before. But if you have any questions, put them in the notes. I'll respond, and let's see if we can't get some rockets. You know, post your little movie of your rocket flying across space, going to save somebody, or avoiding the planet that's going to be destroyed, or whatever your story happens to be. Okay. All right. Well, thanks for joining me today, you guys. I miss you guys. Love you guys, and we'll see you soon. All right. Bye-bye.